This is Larry Rosenthal of the Goldman School with Policy Analysis, some history and context. In this short video, my remarks will address first the rise of so-called scientific government. Next, we'll look at some history relating to the creation of policy analysis schools, and then we'll review the basics of the master's level curriculum now offered in public policy analysis programs. First, let's speak briefly about the rise of scientific government. It's in quotes because government will always be a mixture of art and craft as well as science. After World War II, the federal government in the United States recognized that, in fact, technical analysis in industry, in the military fields, helped win the war. There was a burst of optimism, know-how, and a national sense of confidence that there was no public policy challenge that hard thinking and ingenuity could not help address. There was already emerging thinking about a more scientific method for managing government agencies, and this already was several generations old in the development of emerging, mature bureaucracies. But come the 50s and the 60s, leaders like President John F. Kennedy envisioned how the so-called best and the brightest from industry and from the private sector might be placed into public service to help government solve some of the most pressing and complicated social problems. The overall goal regarding bringing this technical thinking to governance and to government was to make government smarter, to reduce its number of mistakes, to help it discover brighter ideas, and most importantly, perhaps, to help it keep up with social and technological change. So we have, since that time, mid-century, an emerging policy science, if you will, brought to bear on topics like the energy crisis, the space race and NASA, the need for health care and improvements in the quality of health care, and even the war on poverty. And the features of this emerging science were that it was data-driven and analytic in nature. Let's turn toward some brief background on the creation of public policy schools. As these communities of practice and the development of think tanks in the policy sciences began to develop, those organizations then had slots, opportunities to employ young people in their ranks. And it wasn't just private think tanks, but more and more there were government agencies looking to employ such professionals directly. Those emerging needs led to calls for training, for the standardization of these skill sets, and for the creation of a new profession of what came to be known as policy analysis. Really, it was a new vision for leadership, where elected leaders and agency heads would utilize social science tools in a systematic way to help address the problems they faced. There already existed an established network of schools of public administration, and those schools, which were counterparts to programs in Masters of Business Administration or the MBA programs, these Masters in Public Administration degree programs then welcomed new and emerging departments and academies which focused now on this policy science, or what came to be known as public policy analysis. For example, Berkeley's Graduate School of Public Policy, now known as the Goldman School, was founded in 1969. Let's finish this brief discussion of some of the history and context of policy analysis by going over some of the features of public policy graduate curriculum. That curriculum can be found in degree programs which offer a master's in Public Policy, or MPP. The coursework might include background and skill set building in policy analysis, and that's what this online course seeks to target through the Eightfold Path. Additional topics include microeconomic theory and applications, quantitative methods and even qualitative ones as well, background in legal and regulatory studies, which would provide these graduate students some of the training that one would otherwise attain in law schools. Some training in politics and leadership skills. Some learning about organizational management. And lastly, a series of other topics and electives which can include in any given school ethics, finance and accounting, benefit cost analysis, a broader survey of research methods more generally, policy writing and the art of policy communication, field work opportunities such as placements with real-world clients, program evaluation, and then specialized subject matter courses attending to the specifics of policy relating to housing, energy, healthcare, or any of a number of other subject matter expertise fields. In this unit, we've talked briefly about the rise of scientific government. Then we turned to discussion of the creation of policy analysis schools. And then we went over the basics of the master's level curriculum in policy analysis. Thank you for your attention, and you now may move on to the problems for this unit.